So on the 65 cab, there used to be a fuel tank that goes right back behind the seats. We're gonna remove and delete this hole because we're going to put the gas tank back there. So I'm gonna measure here. 4 inches wide. 4 by 4 I guess. And that's okay. It kind of already has the curve.
So I got tired of beating sheet metal on 2x4s and decided to make this thing so we can shape and just make quick work of it.
So we're gonna come in from the backside, mark it, and then we're gonna go further out. We're gonna measure this by about 1/4 of an inch all the way around, and then we'll cut that from this. 3/4 of an inch, basically. Dang, just this whole. So I just need to kind of cut around.
So when I first started out, I thought, oh, I gotta have the most expensive tools. I gotta get, a CNC metal cutter. But really, we already have the most expensive tool, and that's your brain. And I thought, well, now I gotta make these shapes like this one here, a circle to fit. And just as you're going along, you're gonna put it up against the piece and figure, oh, I gotta cut more, and just start finessing it. Little by little, you really gotta have patience with this kind of stuff. And
pretty damn close. The only thing left is this little ridge right here, and I can see it. All right. There we go. About to get a And here's the piece. I've made my way all the way around. I just gotta fill just a couple little spots, almost burned through. Couple spots here. But for the most part, it's welded in, it's ready. Let me finish welding in those last spots, grind it, and I'll show you where we're at.
And here's what it's looking like. Just need to finesse it a little bit more, weld in a little bit more metal in some of these little gaps here. I like to use minimum filler, but you're gonna use filler. I just don't like to use a lot of it, so keep it mostly to metal. But it's looking really good, getting there. So the last real major thing that I need to do on this truck here is this cross member that goes under the cab has some rotting pieces underneath it that I'll show you right now. They're rotting like right here, and same on the other side. Now, instead of having to take the whole cab off and avoiding the cost of that labor, we are just gonna cut and section in what we need. It looks like there's a couple of bolts, probably where the seats bolt in. So we're about to get under here, get to cutting. Let me show you what tools I have ready to go. Let's do it.
All right, so we have 2 angle grinders, one with the flap disc, one with the cutoff wheel. We have an air saw. We have a couple of die grinders here, one with the surface pad, and I have little discs for that, 36 and 80 grit. Really helpful wire wheel. And then I have a 3-inch cutoff wheel, some hammers, pliers, just a wrench, just stuff that you're gonna need, air so you can clean and look at your work as you're going. And then I have this guy for the angle grinder in case we really need it to prep. And then we have the MiG 140 with argon CO2 combo. We'll be working on the tailgate later, just because this truck is just in rough shape. I'm guessing someone used it to work, as trucks are intended to be used, but now we want to make it look pretty. So this is gross. I mean, it's nasty. Don't even look at it right now. Don't even look at it. Okay, we're gonna look at it. It's needing a little bit of love, so I'll get to that later, but everything else is gonna get wet sanded. But let's just take care of this cross member now, because this is the last big thing on the truck, and then we'll go from there. All right, so let me show you that cross member we're talking about. We're gonna come right up under here, and there it is. So it's rotted out, nasty. We're gonna cut right here and right there. Get it off the truck, and then we'll put in the new section and weld it in. All right, so change of plans. We have the titanium plasma cutter, 45 amp, and we are just gonna see if we can slice that thing right off right where I started cutting, because the angle grinder with the cutoff wheel, it just wasn't doing it. So let me get this hooked up. Let me get the airline hooked up. Let me get a good ground, and then we'll see what this plasma cutter can do for us in this situation here today. Okay, so we're gonna be using the titanium plasma 45. I have a 60-gallon compressor, so plenty of air. I just made a ground on the part that we're gonna be cutting. This machine is really cool because if you don't have a 240 hookup, it'll go to 110. I'm about to run it and just see what we can do, because if not, this Crossmember is gonna be a pain in the nalgas. So let's see what we can do. Maybe I won't do a time lapse and I'll actually just do a real time. So here we go.
I'm not showing. So here we go.
Up the edges and clean it up. Here we go. Plasma cutter for the win. Woo, I dig it down. I've been cutting away with, let me show you, here it is. I've been cutting away with the cutoff wheel here. And I think if I get this flat enough, I can get that piece to sit right in. Now here I wanted to show you this. I made some relief cuts and then I'm just using a chisel and I'm getting it out of there because this is where it was rusting out. So we got to clean this up real good and, you know, spray some rust preventative liquid here so it doesn't continue to spread. I mean, what's the whole point of replacing this thing if you don't address the fact of why you're replacing it, right? The rust. So that's where we're at. Essentially, it's gonna be the same thing on the other side. So I won't bore you and show it to you twice, but I'm gonna get the new piece in lined up and I'll show you that and then I'll get it welded in. Oh, I'm regretting those 20 tamales right about now. All right, so basically everything's pretty much done under the truck. From the rocker in, it's 8.5 inches. I'm gonna go just a pinch. I'm gonna go 8 and a little bit past 3/4, and I'm gonna mark it and cut right in here. So y'all, I'm really new to plasma cutting. I just decided to pull the trigger and get one because I thought it would make life a lot easier when it comes to cutting metal. And so here we go, just trial and error, but it's pretty user-friendly so far. Let's get it going. Right here, I got everything marked off. So let's jump right in.
And I'm gonna go even a little bit more, so I have more material to cut away if I need to. I mean, I don't know if there's anything I need to say. That, wow.
So in preparing to put in the new section of this crossmember on the driver's side, I ran into some interesting work here that was done before. Somebody just laid down new sheet metal over this hole, I guess, because they didn't really cut a hole. It just, I don't even know. Anyway, this isn't gonna work. If we weld into this, it's gonna fall apart. It's not structurally stable. And then up here in the cab, it all makes sense now. So we're gonna cut this out, weld in a new piece here, and that'll give us something to weld in from the bottom. So let me get this done. And just like I thought, everything underneath it rotted, but it's okay. We're gonna weld in a new plate right here. We'll try our very best to shape it into, you know, this little curve, this little crevice right here. And then after that's done, then I'll feel comfortable and safe welding in the cross member section underneath it. Because otherwise we're just welding to nothing. We're welding to rot. I knew it was bad. I didn't think it was gonna be this bad, but all right, we'll get this going. All right, hours later, but this is where we're at.
And here we go. I ended up making a bracket to weld in just like this over the piece that's gonna come in. And you'll see it here at the end, just for more stability, right? And on the driver's side door, there was a nasty crack. And so I ended up cleaning it up with a die grinder and welding in some metal to close that up. Another little thing that just, you know, would have irked me had I left it alone.
So the bumpers and the front grille are in primer, ready for wet sanding. Fenders are in primer, ready for wet sanding. This is what I'm about to show you right now. This wasn't part of the deal, but I can't let this roll out completed with a huge gash. I'm just hoping, again, we don't go into a rabbit hole with this once we prep that for welding, because everything is getting wet sanded super smooth. So far so good, because we opened up a rabbit hole here. Started grinding to prepare for what I thought was going to be some tack welding here, but I mean, look at this. And there's a lot more filler this way, a lot more filler that way. And I've still got to work here a little bit. Let me show you what underneath the truck is looking like. So, is it the prettiest thing in the world? No. But is it going to hold? Yes. That's where we're at. The cross member is done. Let me show you how this came out really smooth. That's not even wet sanded yet. It's not even wet sanded yet. Once it's wet sanded, it'll look a lot better. But right now the focus is the cab corner hole. This guy, there's an issue in the drip rail, and we're gonna use some mesh and some body filler because that's where, you know, my guy's budget is right now. So that's what we want, just a quick fix. This is not gonna be a show truck. It just needs to be presentable. All right, so after grinding it down with the flap disc 80 grit, it cleaned up real nice, but I just want to make sure everything's as clean as possible. So I'm going to use the wire wheel to get in there. What the hell? Like, did T-Rex attack this truck? What is this? All right, well, I'm going to use the wire wheel to get in here also, and then we'll just use some filler to round it out. It's all good. We can fix that, quick fix, filler. No additional charge. I just, like I said, I can't let that leave like that. It's gonna just look like not really well. All right, so let's see what the wire wheel does. The objective is to tack, build up, and just go back and forth and see if I can fill all this in with metal. And here we go. Cool. Now let's get this one. Instead of just adding filler here, oh my gosh. All right. Just gonna see if I can drop in some metal. This is all bonus. This is what it means by going above and beyond. If you pay me $6,000, it's gonna look like you paid $8,000. My name is on it. Some, that doesn't mean anything. But to me, that means everything.
And here comes my pops. I really love and enjoy anytime we get to hang out.
All right, well, let's hit it with flap disc and see how smooth we can get this. I'd say a whole lot better.
And this is what it's looking like. Lot better. Stay tuned. Much more to come.